So essentially, algo trading is just rule-based trading. It has all of these variables, all of these building blocks. It is basically infinite amount of strategies. Your job is to attempt to find and validate a strategy that is robust. Hi guys, based on the feedback, we're going to get some more kind of simple concepts in and go over some like foundational knowledge just to kind of help you guys understand a little bit more about algo trading in general before kind of heading into SQX itself. So the kind of goal is that you understand kind of what rule-based trading is and kind of what a backtest is and how SQX does that kind of at a high level. So essentially, algo trading is just rule-based trading. So if you have like a true mechanical strategy, you can turn that into an algorithm. So put it in its simplest kind of way, it just needs entry rules, exit rules, risk rules, like how your risk management, and some potential optional filters, like the time of day, or like a trend filter or something like that. So just to give an example of what an algorithm could be, it could be, I want to, if the RSI is oversold with a period of 14, we are going to open a long at market price and we'll risk 1%. As I said, you can have some filters, like you only want to do that if it is London session, and you could have your exit rules. Your exit rules could be if the RSI goes from oversold to overbought, you are going to then close the trade. You can also have your stop loss at take profit. More simpler ones are 1 times the ATR for your stop loss and 1 times the ATR for your take profit. So now that you kind of understand, roughly what an algorithm is and that it's essentially just mechanical trading automated, we'll have a look at what an actual backtest is. So a backtest is basically simulating an algorithm on historical data. It's great for kind of testing the ideas. Like you want to quickly think, to hammer on the example, okay, I think RSI oversold could be fantastic. Let's code it into a strategy. Let's make that into a real thing and test it how it did the past 10 years. Almost certainly you're going to find that it's a losing strategy and it has no edge. But imagine how much time has been saved because you did that algorithmically instead of doing it manually. It would probably take you days and days and days and days to do it manually if you wanted to go test that strategy over the past couple of years. With SQX and with algo trading in general, you can test that and validate the idea in minutes. So it's good for testing ideas. What a backtest is not, it's not proof of how it will perform in the future. If it performs well on the backtest, realistically, it means pretty much nothing. All it means is that very specific thing did okay. That doesn't correlate and it doesn't guarantee future performance. And one thing to consider on backtests is you need to make it semi-realistic. So for example here, if I went and put the spread as 0, the slippage is 0, the commission is none, and then I also went and said I want to do a minute 1 scalper and I want my stop loss and ATR to be like 2 pips. Yes, I'm not going to actually do it, just not mess it up. But if you want it to be 2 pips stop loss and take profit, maybe it will find something that looks good, but you have 0 slippage, you have 0 spread, and you have 0 commission. So the little profit that it makes is going to get ate up and it's not going to work in reality. You've essentially just made it look nice in history and under very specific circumstances. It's not an actual strategy and it's not actually anything worthwhile testing more. So make sure you're always just using real trading conditions. I like to kind of so there's a couple lines of thought and I don't want to explain it too much, but for most of my history, I've kept it about build at 1 to 2x the spread, minimum. So let's say Euro USD, for example, realistically on a good broker, 0.5 pips is a lot of spread. That's quite high. I usually build on 1 spread and 1 slippage, which is about 4x, if not more, how much you're going to get in reality. But it's better to have a little bit too much than a little bit too little. And the commission, I always just set that's what it actually is on what I'm going to trade. Typically, it's about $5 a lot on a lot of brokers. So now we kind of covered that. What actually is SQX? So SQX is kind of like a strategy factory in a way. It has all of these variables, all of these building blocks that you can see here, and combines them in as many ways as possible that it can do, and then evaluates the results to kind of produce some backtest. What it happens is, because there's so many variables and entries, there's basically an infinite number of strategies. The same way that if you have a deck of cards and you shuffle it, you have now made a completely unique order of cards, because there's 52 variables to the power of 52 is beyond a number beyond comprehension. No one's ever shuffled that deck of cards because they're that way that you just did, because there is way too many variables. And SQX has way more than 52 variables. If I just click everything, 446, and that's just on the signals, not including the indicators, not including the stop limit, not including the order types, the exit types, the time frames, everything. So it's not essentially infinite, it is basically infinite amount of strategies. Your job when using SQX is not just to find the prettiest looking curve, the one that looks the closest to like a bollocks martingale strategy. That's not gonna lead you to success. Your job is to attempt to find and validate a strategy that is robust. So kind of the pipeline of SQX is, you generate strategies, you backtest them, you filter them, you validate them, and then you can export them and run them live. Next video, we're going to kind of go over in sample, out of sample, overfitting and sample size and what I actually mean when I say robustness. So check out that video and let us know any questions.